I have moved back to my hometown, and that is something that I personally think is right for me at this time. I think that as society crumbles, and as I witness society crumble before my eyes in Los Angeles, um, I kind of was just reaffirmed that my parents were right. My family was right. People who stay in their hometown are right. They're not missing much. The rest of the world is very bleak. The rest of the world is very desert like. And it's just a whole full circle moment. But I have discarded my past. It obviously shaped me and gave me so much insight on the collective and what's going on in major cities like Los Angeles. I also learned a lot about what I'm willing to tolerate and standing up for myself, which is super enlightening. But my intention for this period of my life now is to reconnect to my family, be with them, be present with them, focus on our own growth and healing. And I'm going to continue making art. I did a self-sacrifice ritual leaving Los Angeles, and I just felt the cursed energy from the connections that I made, me being the problem, admittingly, but also other people being the problem, and realizing that this is just how it was gonna happen. I should have known better than to even try and get a degree, a useless degree that wouldn't pay me, that wouldn't secure me a job. But I had fun doing it. And I think that's the ultimate thing about my adventure is like, I tried and I failed. I failed miraculously and I failed wonderfully. And through that mistake, I have learned how to manage my energy better, to be more discerning with the connections I make out into the world, and to really focus on my business and increase that and increase my capital. And sure, I can be like those whiny social justice warriors who never shut the fuck up online. And towards the end of my time at Los Angeles, I was definitely giving that again. But I think it was more so just a cry for help, that I really did miss my family, and they have done nothing wrong outside of just be smarter than me. As someone who went to university, there were so many misconceptions that I have grown out of. And now I think that I am doing the ultimate work of uplifting my family, my indigenous family, honoring my roots. And what's miraculous and a blessing about my life is that I do get to have the best of both worlds. I know that when I go out into the world, I am famous. I am a celebrity. I am an authentic, unique, and blessed individual. And sure, I have not worked hard enough or long enough to make money yet, but I will get there. And I have faith that I will get there because now I have the love of my family to ground me and support me. And, if we had beef, we're gonna have beef forever. But you can stay in your misery. I'm going to focus all of my energy on being the best me that I can be. My family, as an indigenous Mexican Salvadorian family, supports me in my queerness. They support me in my transness. They support my spirituality. And these were things that were huge blocks for me to just feel content in my life. They have affirmed me time and time again that no one's mad at me. my ego definitely has problems, but whose doesn't? You know, everyone's ego is reactionary and clings to the stupidest things and stupidest people and doesn't let shit go. And now that I'm back with my parents in the stability of our home, I am going to do the best work that I can as an artist, as a mystic, as a social critic. My dad gave me great advice, though. He was like, you recognize this system. The system is never going to change. I believe he told me that my grandma's dying words was that there's no fighting this system. This system is evil. The system is harboring and harvesting negative energy to keep the collective miserable. And that only reaffirms that my job on earth is an extremely sacred one. And there was a brief period after I was going to move where I decided to abandon it all, to be a nomad, to walk and hike the Pacific Crest Trail, and then to walk from the West Coast to the East Coast. And I do believe that in the future, when I plan for it, that is going to be an amazing journey. But I was in downtown LA last night, and I had finished my time at WeSpa. It was such a good detox from all of the collected energy and gunk that I had given to myself, as well as the community around me and what they've given me. But I started walking, and I realized that if I do take off on this journey, I am stunting my growth and stunting my healing, because a huge part of my identity and my brilliance and my talent and my awareness did come from this family. And I really tried my hardest to make it on my own. I worked really hard at really shitty jobs, tolerated the worst people imaginable in society. And I also had really great moments. So I'm not demonizing or villainizing Los Angeles. But it really showed me that, like, I have work to do with my roots and with my upbringing. And, you know, in the past when I visited my family, they had already shown me how much they've grown. And I've grown so much too. And the truth is that there is growth, but also things kind of stay the same. And I think that I'm still that angry, sensitive, compassionate little boy who wanted to save the world and wanted to fix it. And I yelled, and I did all of the magic, I did all of the energy work, trying to fix it. And in one conversation, my dad just affirmed that, like, you're not gonna save this world. You can't fix it. You're just one person. The only people that can change and fix and save this world are the people who have money. And I don't have money. I don't have a job. A part of me understands, because my dad has been working for 40 plus years in the United States, and he's made his own business. He works really hard in his business. So I know that he's got both indigenous wisdom as well as just wisdom from a person who has lived in this shit, you know, and has been miserable and still did the hard work. And a part of me is still fighting to be that rebellious punk who just doesn't take what people say, doesn't internalize it, and knows that I can live my own life. And my dad last night in our conversation on the ride back to the desert, he affirmed that, like, yeah, you have your gifts. We see that. We honor that. But you're only destroying yourself by focusing on the world. Because the world doesn't care about you. The world would keep moving if you died. They would do the procedure of burying you or burning you if there was no money. And that allowed me to come back into, what do I really care about? And I can LARP being a social justice warrior, but at this point we can all tell that social justice warriors and neoliberal bullshit is the reason that shit is so bad right now. It's all performative, and I can still perform to be an artist, to be an amazing, stunning, impactful person in society. But I'm tired of performing for the Panopticon. And I witnessed this in LA, where people just stare. And all those eyes I've been trained to be comfortable with. Because they're just staring. They're just observing. Honestly, no one in LA truly ever made me feel uncomfortable. Being in downtown LA, I did not feel cursed energy. And if anything, being in LA is just detrimental to the sensitive person, to the psychic person, who gets pieces of information that are sometimes very different from what you're seeing in front of you. And then when you speak on this information, you are seen as crazy or gaslit. But the witches know, and the spiritual and energetic workers know what I'm talking about. And it is very exhausting to be around a culture that is constantly bombarding you with energy. And I know that, it doesn't change being on Earth. You're still constantly bombarded with energy. But now I realize that my total focus from now until the unforeseeable future is making my art, being in my spiritual work, training myself, and just spending time with my family, because I moved out at 19 and I'm now 29. And so there's definitely time that I need to spend with my family, just taking in their experience and their wisdom and listening. And now is a perfect time to do it, because my parents are still really healthy and still active and moving, and I'm grateful that I have such a loving family. And we live a pretty simple life. Like, they have their Whole Foods in the fridge, they have their protein powders, they go to work, they have, their forms of entertainment. But I would never forgive myself if I would have taken that path to being a nomad and just abandoned my family. It would have haunted me for the rest of my life. And, I cast this judgment of being poor and not having a job or my appearance. And I recognize that, all of these voices of judgment have stemmed from other people. Because when I'm with my family and when I'm with myself, you don't need to have money to be an amazing person out in this system. I just think so many people have been brainwashed and controlled by capitalism for so long that my modality is extremely different. And it's radically indigenous. And living with a white person, living with a black person, they showed me my blind spots. They showed me where I uplifted them out of pity, or I absorbed their racist rhetoric. And truly, in my belief, I know that for me as a mixed person who is German and Mexican, has indigenous blood, has indigenous power, even if my own fellow indigenous community will just see a white man or just see like a Spaniard, right, to be more accurate, that doesn't matter. What matters is living my life authentically and radically accepting myself and embracing myself. And that has been the most uphill battle in a society where people are conditioned and programmed to do the complete opposite, to abandon themselves, to placate their elders or the algorithm. And I don't need to do that anymore. I set myself free. I have visions of me being an amazing artist, of me releasing video and film and music and fashion and makeup and paintings, all of it, because it's within my skills. And the fact that I wasn't validated online showed me what this algorithm uplifts. And what it uplifts is the enabling of distraction, escapism, self-abandonment, and delusion. And I do feel like a cosmic celebrity. I don't want to be a celebrity in the industry sense, where these people are leeching off my energy and being toxic in business deals. I do see myself as a cosmic celebrity, where everything I say gets broadcasted to the collective. Good, bad, and ugly, I embrace it all. Because I had to embrace the fact that, like, I am gonna say some evil shit. And it's going to be inflammatory. And it's going to hurt people's feelings. And it's going to damage my connection to them. But truth be told, I've never had a connection to anyone, truthfully, as deeply as I've had a connection to myself. And I needed to experience human connection to know and to be reaffirmed that I can't do this alone. No one can succeed alone. Everyone has help. Everyone has support systems. And I will say that my most fragmented energy and my most chaotic energy came from the panic of feeling like I had no support, or that the support that I did have was conditional and was using me in another form. And honestly, that feeling only goes away when I'm around my family. The moment that I moved out at 19, I knew that none of these people care about me. They don't care about my happiness. They don't care about my depression. They don't care about the way that I, as a sensitive, highly energetic and sensitive person, absorb information and need to elucidate that information to make sense of it. And in my spiritual journey, there's been so many lessons. And, you know, it is all common sense. There was a granny out in Long Beach, who just told me that a lot of this is just common sense. Treat people with kindness. Don't abandon yourself. Common sense is not so common though. And it was even lost on me because I tried to rationalize and use my logic mind to make sense of things that are esoteric and supernatural. And people are a mystery. People are hurting, especially right now. And I released this video to let y'all own your pain. Because a part of me also, because I'm so loving and because I pour out so much energy, because I have so much energy, I did try and be the fixer in the cosmic relationship. I've always witnessed how people are living their life. And I analyze this the most with people that I've lived with, but I watch them. And I see them do the same things over and over. And complain that they want change, but they don't do it. And this could be due to multiple reasons. Like the fact that we feel we have so much time, so we can just coast on by and not stick to the change that we want. Or because we're scared. And I've seen that in myself. Because the people that I've lived with, while they have their own life and have to own up to their own bullshit and baggage, they were also a mirror to myself. And it helped me realize that there's so much work I have to do. But I can't do that panicking about where I'm gonna live, how I'm gonna make money, and I'm extremely fortunate and blessed that I still have a family to lean on in this rough time. And I'm uploading this also because I know that this isn't forever. My life will get so much better as I experience it, and I won't have trust issues with society, and I will be able to manage my money, and I will be able to showcase my work and have it be received positively because it's beautiful work, it's powerful work, it's life-changing and universe-shifting work. And that's the thing about being an artist, is you know this. Inside you know this. And everyone around you invalidates you. Unless you're a white person with a trust fund and you paint a dot on a canvas, people don't give a fuck. That's the truth of my experience as an indigenous Mexican. Is I came out at 19, moved to San Francisco, continued my educational journey, went to multiple different colleges and universities, and when I finally graduated, I could not make money to save my life. And I will blame it on this corrupt system. I will blame it on systemic racism. But I'm with my family now. And we're a beautiful Latino household who are kind and patient and powerful. They just don't flaunt their power the way that I have. And sure, it's incredibly embarrassing and egotistical for me to feel some type of way about all this, but I need to look at the big picture. I'm blessed that while society collapses, I get to spend time with my family. I get to start over. And honestly, living out in Los Angeles is not that big of a deal. Like, I know that the people who were born and raised in Los Angeles are always like, my hometown. And it's like, right. But just like every other hometown, ain't shit to do. You did it all. You are bored. And, I used to really criticize people who never left their hometown. And to some degree, I still do. Because you have to fail. You have to fear. You have to fall. And you have to realize that you're going to make it out of LA. You're going to survive. There is never a moment that is too unbearable, right? For your psyche. If anything, it's just uncomfortable. Life is uncomfortable. I, at my most uncomfortable, just felt like, oh God, I want to disappear. But for all I know, everyone who ever stared at me in LA was probably in love. Was probably just obsessed with the way that I carried myself and fascinated with how I've been able to be this complicated person, full of nuance and full of multifaceted energy. And so they want some of that for themselves. And while I can't give y'all a complete, guideline on how to be me, I can tell that pieces of me exist in other people. The part of you that doesn't stay silent when you know that you have to speak your truth or speak your piece. The part of me that is socially uncomfortable because people stare. That's present in everyone. That's why nobody leaves their house in Los Angeles unless they need to run an errand. The people who know that they have amazing gifts and talents, but are scared of reaching their potential. But all of this has just been one long learning experience. And I need to choose my words carefully. I understand the power of the word, of my words. And I don't know the truth of the universe. As much as I can formulate a theory, it'll constantly be contested. And it'll be manipulated, or people will bring up a counterpoint that shatters my theories. And ultimately, I'm at peace knowing that what matters is what I choose to believe. I choose to believe in the magic of this world. I choose to support my light and my shadow equally because they're both so essential for my development and my growth. And I'm just learning from the mistakes of my predecessors, even when in my life there are not too many predecessors to speak of. I am learning from my own mistakes because I'm also setting the standard and the blueprint for my own life. And in the future, I know that through the help and healing of my family, I will be able to secure a job, work, plan, save, at the same time sharing my business and sharing my magic, my energy, and being profitable because of it. I know that I could very much disappear from the universe, from the digital panopticon, and stop caring about y'all entirely. And it would benefit me because then I could finally focus on my family, my art, me, not you. not the strangers that I've met that lasted for brief periods of time. But I think it's also my flaw that I am also so caring, so compassionate, that I don't just want to abandon y'all to suffer. I do want to fix this world. I feel like if our elders have actively tried to benefit themselves solely, and that is destroying the planet with no regard to the consequences that it has on the environment or on the people, I don't want to be like them. I want to care. And I want to be powerful and caring. But this is where, like, I truly need to heal. Because I've been socialized to care about everyone else and abandon myself. And that's time that I'll never get back. Sure, it's an experience. And it's a beautifully complicated experience. But I need to be better than my predecessors. Even just the people who are a couple years older than me. Living with someone who was just 1 year older than me showed me how real mental illness is. How quickly the rot can consume you. And how you can just stop caring about everything and everyone, including yourself. And I don't want to be that way. I actively have to fight to not be that way. And I'm happy to be back home with my family. A part of me feels like a failure because I should have been able to hold on to my money and stayed independent. And I recognize now that no one is truly judging me the way that I'm judging myself. And the people who are judging me are judging themselves the hardest. Like, being a judgmental bitch did save me countless times, and I did choose myself ultimately. But it's also hurt me. Hurt the way that I can talk to myself and treat myself. And I don't want to be like y'all. It's not my place, it's not my destiny, it's not my fate to be bitter and cold-hearted. Sure, I had to use and learn those energies, and I had to expand in my power as a witch, or as a bruja, as someone who understands light and dark energy. But it's all truly just one big energy that you have to filter out. And I'm grateful for the part of me that turned evil in Los Angeles, that started saying the uncomfortable truth, that expressed myself even when no one was listening, or supposedly no one's listening. I have felt invisible as a queer person, as a trans person, as someone who's Mexican. And because of that, I could not see. Because of that, I cannot see. I cannot see the people around me. I refuse to look away. or I refused to look at them, and I would look away. Knowing that we are all interconnected, knowing that we are all the same, just with different filters or settings. And I'm so happy that I can cry. I'm so happy that I still have these deep parts of myself that society could never change or take away from me, because I will viciously defend them. And I'm really grateful that I was protected by the spiritual world and also just the physical world. Because whether it be in my past lives or just knowing the truth of how people have been done, like Marilyn Monroe, or other people with this energy, this fire, it doesn't end well for us. And I've been able to stay protected and defend myself and protect myself through this experience. There's so much that I'm mourning too, because this society really has started to regress and go backwards. And it feels like my experience on Earth was polluted and tainted. But these are honestly just the karmic retributions. It's what we deserve as humans for the way that we came to this planet, destroyed it, corrupted it, and then died thinking that it wouldn't follow us into the next life. So I own up to it. In the past, in my past lives, from the greatest evil I could have done to the most saint-like actions, I just own up to all of it. And I embrace it. Because it's given me the ability to be so dynamic and powerful. And as much as I can do spiritual ancestral work, I still have a family that I should take care of and embrace. Even if we're gonna fight. Because it's uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Sometimes you just gotta fight it out. I also owe it to the land and owe it to indigenous people to spend the rest of my life honoring the land and caring for it. And even though my relationship with the people on the land is a little shaky, that's also why I wanted to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, because I've always felt my most peaceful surrounded by nature. It's just such a pity that we're destroying nature as I speak. That the data centers are taking water that we need. That there's so much injustice and corruption around us. And it's just accepted. It's so complicated too, because at this point, everyone's in on it. Everyone's in on the problem. Everyone benefits from maintaining the problem. And it just hurts me. It hurts me to think about the future we could have had. The nature we could have embraced. The ways we can still ascend and transcend all of this. But the best thing I can do for myself, and I'm just going to wrap up this video because I don't have much else to say. I owe it to myself to repair the damage that I have done to my family through my absence, to heal our connection as much as I am able to, because there are still going to be their free will. They can always hold on to a grudge. They can always hold things over my head. I really hate how family does that, but the way that the world has disrespected me at this point and has made me feel so ugly and so invisible, when I know that I am a bright shining light who's beautiful, even if it doesn't fit your standard of beauty. The fact that I can take all that from the world and transmute it to make myself grow. I know that my family doesn't want to hurt me. They want me to grow. I just come from a history of swallowing my emotions and being angry but having no outlet for it. Or not choosing the right outlet, I should say. But I'm grateful that in this moment I'm held by my family. They want the best for me. I want the best for me. I am still going to upload and make art and try and exist within the system that doesn't value me, doesn't care about me, would rather see me dead than successful and happy. And I'm gonna try my hardest to not let the bitterness take me out. But I'm still here for myself. And now I get to spend time with my family. And they're all working all the time, so I have to work as well and make my art while they're away and believe in myself so ferociously that I just laugh about this in the future. That at one point there was a smear campaign to keep me quiet and docile and dumb, that people collectively gathered on my misery and danced on it. I will laugh at this in the future. Right now I'm really questioning if we even have a future because of the way that the system's destroying the planet. No one seems to care either. But I have my gifts, and I need to utilize those gifts to make change. I hold like two truths where I regret nothing, and I'm so grateful that I did everything I did and tried and fell hard and loved hard and made mistakes and said the wrong thing and fought against a system that wants to keep me placating and people pleasing, because that's my job as an artist, is to be that voice, to be the documenter of history. And it's a sacred job that holds a lot of power and responsibility. I am just learning how to be a human on Earth. I've been failing. I've been failing at documenting it all. But I also know that that's important because it's impossible for just one person to fix it all. I really thought I was strong enough, different enough, unique enough to where I could be the change. And I've seen the way that my energy and magic impacts the world around me. I know what I must do when it comes to spiritual workings and sharing my message online. There are so many people out there who upload nonsense, who upload distractions, who upload complete buffoonery to keep us limited, to keep us ignorant. And I'm so proud that I can have fun with the best of them too, and I can entertain their mediocrity, but that's not who I am as an artist. And as a spiritual worker, I'm extremely deep, and I'm philosophical, and I can truly see every perspective. I just need to stop choosing everyone around me. I need to discard being a conglomerate of the people that I've met. And I need to stay grounded and centered in my life. And my life is really beautiful. There's really no problems outside of my ego wanting more. And that's a vicious black hole we could never fill. Your ego will always want more. It'll never be satisfied. But I think I'm really tapping into just understanding that this is my life. After observing people for so long, the boundaries and the lines get blurred. But this is my life. And I'm owning every part of it. Because my life is amazing. I had an amazing childhood, full of dynamic moments with friends and my family. Outside of being raised a Jehovah's Witness, that's really not a huge problem. I just make more problems. I had amazing times working as a lifeguard. I do love my hometown. I just felt trapped. And so I rushed out to move out to San Francisco when I should have saved up more money and should have really been more discerning with the friends that I made and with the energy that I spent. But these are happy tears because I lived, I loved, I made so many mistakes, but I can come back from all of them. Sure, there are black and white people who are never going to forgive me, and they're going to hold a grudge for the rest of their lives. But I don't care. If they want to call me a sociopath for not caring, that's what the society conditions us to be. American Psycho is a great film for a reason. And I'm tired of carrying the weight of the world. I know that the world will also get better, at least my personal world will get better, the more that I focus on my mind, body, and spirit. And then once that is more healed, I can finally connect to the larger community. I just think I wanted it all too soon, too fast, without putting in the work. And that's where my childlike impatience comes out and makes a monster of me. But, oh God, so much mucus. I'm going to dedicate the rest of these next couple weeks or months to filming content. I really want to showcase and advocate and worship my hometown for the ways that it raised me, for the beauty that it holds, for the ways that I can still and better connect to people. And I spent so much of my youth idolizing these bigger cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles because I had a disdain for this small town, this hometown. But it was just my mind that was more small-minded. But now I can repair and heal my roots and be intentional and powerful and show up in this world how I should have shown up from a more mature standpoint. And going to university taught me what I needed to know. The University of Life taught me what I needed to know. And now I'm taking all that knowledge and making my hometown and my local community better. But none of that is possible without me genuinely taking care of myself. I don't have a reason to want to escape anymore. I recognize how beautiful I am and how beautiful my family is and always has been. We just had assimilation wounds, and we had erasure wounds, and we had so much rage that we directed it at each other instead of taking that and transmuting it to heal. And my family is so perfect for me. I really do believe in like a soul contract where we choose our families, because this family is the perfect amount of distance and respect and space, but then closeness and communication when it's dire, when it's necessary. We're also not perfect though. Before you start being jealous that your family sucks and mine's better than yours, just know that like no family is perfect. No family could ever be perfect. They exist to challenge you. They exist to make you uncomfortable so you can grow. And if they're not doing that, then they are enabling you because they hate you. And because they want you to stay stuck. Or be damaged with them, you know? Oh my god. I hate how crying makes me have such a stuffy nose. But hopefully this video also shows you guys that there are people all over the world who feel this and who know this about themselves. Maybe right now the next move, since I'm a cosmic influencer, is to go to your hometown. Reconnect to the parts of yourself that you abandoned. Reconnect to your family. Focus on being the best healed version of yourself. Raising your vibration and maintaining it. Having so much fun with all of the hobbies that you had as a little kid. For me, it was literally art and witchcraft. And it created neurosis because art isn't seen as valuable when you're a chubby gay Mexican. And witchcraft is seen as demonic and scary and something to push away when you're in a puritanical society. And that existed within these four walls. Now I communicate and tell my family everything. I know that as a witch, I need to be better about the silent part. It's hard for me, okay? I process and I grow through communication. And sometimes you don't even need to be listening to what I'm saying because I'm listening. And that's where, like, I truly am set apart from the rest of the system. And I am trying to uplift myself so the rest of humanity can be uplifted. Because all the parts that y'all judge me for are parts of yourself that you've rejected or pushed down and hid away. Meanwhile, I embrace my shadow and I love my shadow. It got me through the toughest parts of my life. And knowing that before that shadow was embraced, my light was running the show. Seeming more grandiose, more perfect, more flawless than the truth is. I still believe and know that I am connected to divinity. And in my reality, there's no entity punishing you for calling yourself a god. It's just gonna, irritate people who believe a different form of spirituality, but my spirituality is valid, just like yours is. I have already gotten all of the nasty, mean, evil, vile comments that have floated around in my head. I've already gotten them out. There's no need to flex on how cruel I can be. Everyone knows at this point that you don't fuck with Geminis. Because when we are more healed, we are extremely loving to ourselves and extremely dangerous to the rest of society. And ultimately, I wouldn't want to be any of y'all. So I don't care how I'm ridiculed or dissected, because I don't want to be y'all. I don't want to be living your lives. I definitely know that I can achieve great feats in my own life. Not on my own, because I definitely know that I need people now. And I can't do this alone. But I know that I can achieve great feats, things that y'all could never. And hearing my ego say this shit, the more evolved spiritual soul of mine cringes the fuck out when my ego talks like this. But I think it's literally just indoctrination and how this society has trained you to have a huge ego that is so panicky over losing. But we all lose. Life is a losing game. Well, this was an amazing release for me. I hope that you guys got some nuggets of wisdom out of it. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me. I'm going to be uploading regularly. I'm going to be showcasing my indigenous life out here in the desert. We are uplifting the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians because this is their land acknowledgement as I move back. And I genuinely want to be the most powerful person that I can be. And that person embraces everything that life throws at it, transmutes it into power, into knowledge, into wisdom. And one day my parents won't be alive. And I'll be really grateful for this period of time that I got to reconnect and make more memories and have more conversations, listen to them. Because my parents are also traumatized and they did not really showcase or express themselves much when I was younger. Maybe because I just couldn't handle it, or because it would have hardened my heart way too soon. because I do care about them and I want them to be the best that they can be. It just takes time and patience. But I'm gonna stay out here as a cutie patootie with a big booty. I'm going to stay working on my fitness. I've got a desert to run. You see this? We're gonna be doing pull-ups and high knees to be working on my core and arms. And I'm just going to keep getting better with time. Because I'm highly blessed and divinely favored. And I know that y'all are sick of me, but prepare to be sick of me more when I'm glowing and constantly glowing. Because it's something when a Gemini is just on fire. They shine so brilliantly. But when the world around us starts to attack that brilliance, we become so dark and clouded. And I had to experience that to see just how bad it can get. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Most of y'all probably couldn't handle that deep darkness. But it didn't take my life. I didn't toss it. I still cherish the life that I get to live. And I will fight all of the oppressive forces until they are beneath my heel. Until I'm dead. So, sure, I need to watch on my reactivity, on my, triggers, but ultimately, I'm doing just fine. And when I'm dead and gone, my spirit team will say that I did everything perfectly. Because there are no rules to designing your life. There are guidelines, but I think that's where the biggest neurosis comes from, is that we are trying so hard to play by someone else's rules and reach satisfaction from made-up illusionary behaviors. It's just not right. It's just not right. But I know the bigger work is going to take time, patience, and the ability to see from multiple perspectives. And I've trained myself in a couple of those fields. But patience is my biggest flaw. I'm very impatient. And I don't know what I'm rushing for. Like, am I just rushing to die? Like, I am affirmed that my position as an artist is so precious and so important as we fall into disarray and chaos and a robotic culture of clones. People need my artistry. I need my artistry, first and foremost. I have a habit of always putting people before me. And I need to untrain that. I need to undo that. I need to put myself first. I'm worthy of being put first. Even if no one else will put me first, I can put myself first. But, cheers. My little brother has so much protein. He has like huge tubs of protein mix, and it's like a bunch of amino acids. So I'm going to be drinking this protein shake. I'm excited to spend time with my family again. Sure, there's going to be a period of, recalibration, and I can just focus on myself, focus on my work, not focus on anyone else. I think that's where I'll end this video. I have nothing else to say. Bye.